I wanted to read it. Now you want to get the boo-hoo. Yeah. I gotta get over here because I would be out of the frame on the Instagram.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. How you do that where you schedule, like you put the time on Instagram?
Yeah, because when you making a post, it asks if you want to do a reminder.
I think Cliffon was telling me about that.
Yeah.
You know, because it can remind people that you're going live.
Yeah, so since it gave me the option to when I did it, I put it on there.
Because it ain't never gave me that option. Maybe that's the update that they just got today or something.
I just recently seen it. It wasn't today, but I just recently seen it because I saw it on Unladylike.
Oh, okay.
Whew. Hey, y'all. I mean,
ain't nobody
hey, one
here.
person there.
Oh.
My back is, remember that side pop I had did the last time? Last week?
These look all cozy.
Girl, they is.
I just get some cozy
just
socks.
for the people when they get on or for when they rewatch. Read my socks.
If you can read this, bring me some wine. And I got on some hot Cheeto socks. So we just got
They're
our
gonna be
little...
like, what is wrong with these people?
It's cold outside. We gotta find different ways to stay warm. So
feet in the camera.
Right. So I've been sitting in the house with a hoodie on all day.
Yeah, my sweater.
I kicked that heat on for the first time today though, because it was just too much. Like I've learned to like the cool. So, and that's a whole nother story of why that happened. But yeah, I appreciate the cool. So like I be fine at night because I just cozy up in my blanket, and it be feeling good. But yeah. So
sorry guys, I'm gassy, so if I get the burping.
Okay, people. Hey y'all, Facebook. Okay. So it's Tuesday. I was about to say it's Wednesday.
Tomorrow, almost.
It's Tuesday, and we're here. I'm Ken.
I'm Kay.
She's Kay. I'm Ken, and this is Wine&Grow. Because we wine when we grow, and when we grow, we need wine. So, just a little check-in. It's Tuesday. We seen each other, Friday? We see each other Thursday and Friday.
Oh, yeah, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, so a little update. So, we went to go see one of our favorite podcasts live. We met our girls, Erica and Mila. It was
so fun, y'all.
It was dope. If y'all listen to podcasts, if y'all can find y'all shows live, go.
Yeah.
The experience is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's also a good experience meeting other people in your city who listens to the podcast, you know. So we made a lot of connections and stuff while we were there. So that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really exciting. A lot of drinking.
It was fun. It was super fun to let go. So the podcast is Good Moms, Bad Choices. Yeah. So it was cool, you know, like just to be around other moms, you know, who just needs to let go, you know, like.
Yeah. It was like we all knew each other. So it was a good time.
And, what else been happening?
We went to eat Friday.
Yeah, we went to go eat.
That was good. Although I won't get the lobster fries again.
Yeah, I probably won't get that again. My dish again either. But yeah, but it was a good experience. You know, we got to catch up with one of our girls. Yeah. Shout out to Keisha. It was nice seeing her. So yeah, that was good. Saturday I had a me day. It was amazing, y'all. Like I woke up, stayed in my bed for a while. Like I didn't even get up till like almost 12, and I went to the show. And then after the show, I took myself to eat. And then I came back home and just relaxed more. But it was just nice to, you know, like I was just being guided to do it. You know, like I wasn't forcing myself. I was like, okay, I'll see. Because originally my plan was to go to Sunflower Field, but it's cold now. Like, so I was like, I'll just do that at the start of the season next year. But I still wanted to make some time for myself. Yeah. And then Sunday, I supported my friend. He became a licensed minister. Congratulations, Edmund. And then I went to go catch up with another good friend, Korean. Shout out to Korean. We went stepping, which is amazing. It was an amazing way to end the week. Yeah. Because I had a really tough week emotionally last week. You know, so we'll get into that some more after you. if you want to catch them up with anything with your life.
I mean, I had a good Saturday. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that there. And Sunday, I just chilled. That was that.
Nothing wrong with that. I figured. I'm like, it's like when you send me that text, I was like, do I want to ask?
My idea.
I was like, do I want to ask some more questions? I'm like, nah, she'll tell me.
It was all my idea too. So, yeah.
So I ain't asked no questions. I just said what I said. But yeah. So yeah. So today, we have a more. I mean, all the topics be deep. They be like real, whatever.
I mean, but we can play with those topics.
Yeah, this ain't no playful topic. So today we're talking about my grief journey. For those of you who may be watching and who don't know us, right? Because, there'll be people out here watching this who don't know us. Yeah. There may be people who are on your friends list who are not on mine, though, and are watching this and vice versa. So for those of you who don't know, this past January, I lost my mom, but just the October before, so 3 months prior, I lost my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, so my mom's mom passed, and then my mom passed. And in between, my family were hit with other deaths too, like my cousins lost their mom, one of my other cousins lost her father, one of my cousins lost her grandmother, her other grandmother, my nephew lost his other grandmother. So we were just being hit. But personally, for me, it was the first time that I had experienced a loss so close to me. Right? I've lost people in my family, but no one who I've been that close with. So I was so unsure about how I was going to deal with that. Yeah. I will always say, and I've said this on Facebook, I would say, if one of my grannies passed, because if you know me, my grandmothers are my loves, those are my babies or whatever. So I just knew I would just be torn apart if I ever lost one of them. And then I'd never even thought about what I would do if I lost my mom. That was just far in the distance for me. But I just never, how can you prepare yourself for loss? But I always thought that I would be unfunctional, just not able to function, not able to do anything after losing somebody who's so close to me, especially since I hadn't felt that before. So I'm like, I just know I'm going to just break down and go crazy. But I'm surviving. But it's been a journey. So that's what we're here today to talk about, and just to give a little perspective from Sequoia's side of being somebody who's been supportive through the grief process. Even before we started this, we were kind of talking about her reaction when I called her, because again, if you know me, my friends are my everything. So the first people that I called, outside of family calling me, the people who I reached out to were my friends. I wanted them to know what was going on, because I just left the house, left the dog, left my job, and I was gone on the highway to see what was going on with my mama. So yeah, so that's a little bit of backstory. But the process, it's very unpredictable. And it's something that you literally have to take day by day. And we're getting interrupted on Instagram because I got a phone call, which is actually my nephew. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, Tavius, hang up. Y'all. Because I did tell him to call me later, but I didn't tell him what time, so that was my fault. Yeah. So, where was I? Just taking it day by day. Let me see. Okay. The speaker thing's still blinking. We might have to end this and come back.
Hold on, Instagram. Oh, sorry.
Does that help? Okay, maybe that helps. Okay. So anyway, so I've just been taking this day by day. Literally, what I've learned the most through my grief process is that you cannot plan for it. Like, I cannot prepare myself for my feelings. But what I can do is find ways to cope when these feelings arise. And I wanted to share a couple things like that I do to help me cope or whatever. So one thing I do, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and my line sisters, when I lost my mom, they gifted me with a couple journals because they know I love to journal, and they know, like that I'm a Christian or whatever. So one is this prayer journal. This people down there, people up there. So you can find it on Amazon. It's called 365 Days of Prayer for Grief and Loss. And I share, this is what, if you following me on my story, I share these little prayers like every day. When I'm led to, which is mostly almost every day. But some days I don't share it, but mostly every day I do. That's where my little prayers come from. They come from this book. Because a lot of times it doesn't always, it sticks, it hits with me with loss, but it also is like really just a good prayer to say for the day. And then I have this a daughter's grief journal. This thing has let me know that I'm on the right path. Like literally, like it's a guided journal, and in the journal, like it tells you to like do certain things. Like for instance, it's like, okay, think about some things that you've gained through your loss. Like instead of focusing on what you lost or whatever, think about what you've gained. And I had literally journaled about that already. So I'm like, okay, so I know my mind is in the right direction. And that has really just helped me and my little sister, when my mom passed away, like, we just had a conversation with each other about our mom's life. And like I said, last week, I had a very tough week. Like, it's crazy that it would happen like the week before we was doing this, because I hadn't really had moments a lot like that where I've been down for days emotionally, like, since my mom passed, like I haven't had days where I've just been down, but last week was just like every day I was probably crying, like just out the blue last week. And, so I ended up spending one night just scrolling through my mom's Facebook page. And if y'all know my mama, that lady could post. Okay? She had a lot of live videos. She had a lot of pictures. So I literally went back a year from her death. So January 18th, 2021, I went all the way back there. And I just seen how my mama lived. And I was like, and it made me feel better. And I wish I had did that early on in the week. But I did that. I think that was on Wednesday night that I was led to do that. But it made me feel better. And what I was getting at was me and my baby sister Titi, when my mom had first passed away, we were just having a conversation about, like, of course we were sad, but we understood why God took our mom. Because my mom, she didn't die. She wasn't like sick or anything like that. It just happened unexpectedly. And, like, I think when you try to get to a place, like, obviously everything isn't you can't understand everything. But seeking understanding really, it does bring peace in ways. So we literally came up with our own understanding of, well, I felt like it was guided by the Spirit. Our mom's, her journey was just done. Like, and people, you may have heard this before, like, God, like some people are just too good for earth. Like they come for a purpose, they do what they have to do, and then God is calling them home. And there's no pain, there's no nothing, like literally they just go. Like, so, and that was our mom. She was an angel. She was here for a reason. She loved, she served, she did everything she was supposed to do, and her time was just over. She went to sleep. God said, well done, my good and faithful servant, and she went home. Like, so that's what brought me peace. So that was something that I did for myself, was just like came to an understanding, God, why my mom, this is why. This is why your mom, this is why your mom now. And that may be hard for people to do if you're not connected in spirit to any, to God or any whatever source that is for you. It may be hard for you to find that connection. A lot of times people are led wrong by people saying don't question God or whatever. God wants us to seek. He wants us to seek, and he'll provide answers where he sees fit. So yeah, that was something. And also finding ways to honor my mom's life. So like, if y'all have been watching, like, I don't want to say I've been in the streets, but I've been in the streets. But I would say it really is no different from how I've always lived, but I've been living more intentionally with what I've been choosing to do and who I've been choosing to be around. Like, this is actually the first year that I've also felt comfortable being alone. And that was actually something that my mom was very good at. Like, she was very much a people person. She had her friends, she had her family. But one thing about my mama is she knew how to go out by herself. She knew how to not wait on people. If she wanted to have a good time or whatever, she did what she had to do. She would go support other people's events and everything, do it by herself. She wasn't always waiting on somebody to go do it with her. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start doing some things by myself, like just honoring myself and what I want to do. And I felt like, in a lot of things, my mom, like, I got that strength from her. So like what I was saying about this journal, like, think about some things that you've gained. That was something that I had felt like I gained. Like, I felt like I gained my mom's strength in her loss. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, like I felt stronger. I felt wiser. I feel more at peace with life. I feel more accepting of life. And it's like, because also I understand now how short life is. So it's like, I'm not going to let a lot of things stress me out. I'm not going to do things and put myself in positions that are making me unhappy anymore. Like, it's like life is too short. Like, literally, you go to sleep and you're gone. And you don't know that. Even though I feel like we know. Like, we're shown signs. Like, again, if you just pay attention to the last year of my mom's life and the way she lived, it was really just a preparation. Like, so yeah. Yeah. Because I don't want to talk too much. I feel like I'm talking a lot. But,
only you can tell your story best, so. Like, this happened to you, so.
Yeah. And, like, I've also had to honor, like I said last week, like being sad or whatever, honoring those feelings. Like, like I even let my boss know, like this is what's going on with me this week, because I knew I was, in a state, so I had to be vulnerable, and I had to be open to other people to let them know what's going on, because it may have affected my work, and different things that I was doing. So I wanted to make sure I was transparent with that. But honoring that, this dog is in this cage crying, and she's not locked up. You hear her?
I hear her, but it wasn't like...
Yeah.
Like, it's real small,
because she
so
irritated.
She was just breathing.
No, she's whining. Maybe she's gotten used to being locked up when we recording. But
her nose just whistling, that's all.
She's a mess. Anyway, so yeah, honoring my feelings, like not pushing myself to be okay when I'm not okay, like really sitting with it. Okay, I'm not okay today, and that's okay. Maybe tomorrow will be better, and if it don't, okay. But like I said, finding ways to come up out of it. Like what I did was look through my mom's Facebook page, because I'm like, okay, I can't, like, this cannot be, like, and that was on, I think it was it on No For Sure? I think, yeah, like one of the persons said, like, depression is like when you just thinking about yourself too much or something like that. It was something like that. But basically, like, depression is like a mental state. You can keep yourself in that state by thinking about it too much, so you have to literally change your mindset, change the way you're thinking about what you're thinking about. And that's what I did. Instead of me being sad about my mom not being here, I decided to switch the narrative and look at her while she was living. So I looked at her live videos, her pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, this woman was amazing. And that helped me get out of it, because I just didn't soak in the fact that she's gone, so.
It's like almost like those few days though that you were able to be vulnerable and feel your emotions were supposed to happen, and then you go through your mom page so you can feel those emotions versus trying to figure out how to get through them that day.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel.
It's all led up to
whatever,
what was supposed to happen. And by the weekend, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to enjoy myself, you know, and just relax, you know, when I needed to. Yeah. What you want to say, friend?
Well,
it's a comment.
It's
some comments.
Yeah. So, Isaiah Coleman said, "I lost my mom young. I couldn't imagine losing her at my age now. More power to you." And then Sydney said, "Teach me. I lost my mom June 30th, and I still feel lost and confused."
Okay. Well, I don't know at what point she said "teach me," but to Isaiah's comment, it's like I really and you're gonna come up on this in good trouble. But in this show I was watching, an older lady, she had lost her mom, like recently, and then the young lady who she was talking to had lost her mom as a teenager, and what she said to her, you know, like what the older lady had said to her was, I could not imagine losing my mom at such a young age, because you didn't even get to experience your mom the way that I did. And I think, I'm not going to say I think I know, that's what helped me deal with my grandmother's death a lot easier than I did with my mom's, is because I felt like my grandmother lived a life. You know, like, even though she had years to go too, like my grandmother was 81 when she passed. Like my other granny just celebrated 90 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like, exactly, you know, so it's just like, I know my grandmother still could have had years, but also having peace with the fact that I know she did live a life. Nova, go. So yeah.
Get down, Nova.
Go back. So I did have peace with that. So I kind of like, you know, felt like with my mom, with, you know, initially not understanding and wondering why, because I'm like, okay, she didn't live though. She had time. You know, we had plans. Like my mom was planning to come to me for my birthday in February, you know, like to Houston. Like she had flights and everything. I'm like, we had plans. And then out of nowhere, now she's gone. But Isaiah, it's really no point. You know, like, I get what you're saying. You know, like, it's like, it could be harder for me because I have a lot more of time. I've had a lot more time with my mom. But I know, like, I would almost feel worse because I did not get to experience my mom if I had have lost her younger. But because I have a story that I can tell about my mom, I have more peace about her loss as well, if that's the proper way to put it.
And Sid said, "Teach me how to live in her life. The videos and pictures does nothing but make me cry harder." Yeah, and I don't know how your mom passed, and you don't have to share that here. But for me, I do the things that I know my mom would do. So, like, for instance, my mom was a dancer. She loved to dance and step. So recently I picked up steppers classes. And my mom used to come. My mom lived in Rockford, but she used to come to the west suburbs every once a week to go to a steppers class. But she was committed to dancing, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign up for dance classes to honor my mom. My mom wanted to travel. Like, that was something that she wanted to start doing. So I've been trying to travel more. Also, my mom loved spending time with her family. So I'm, you know, honoring that. So literally, things that you know your mom enjoyed. If there's something you can find joy in that she also enjoyed, I would encourage you to do that, because then you'll be celebrating her life. It's like instead of soaking in it, you're finding a way to honor her. So I hope that helps. But if not, I mean, we could talk a little bit more too, if you don't want to talk any deeper on here. And that was something that I was actually thinking about this morning. I was like, I think I want to start like a support group for women who lost their moms. That would be good.
And that was in this book. Like, think about starting a support group or something. I'm like, dang, do I want to give myself something else to do? But I was just talking to Corinne on Sunday about just like you, and like how I didn't want to do the mentoring anymore because it got away from my vision of what I wanted to do for mentoring. Nova, go to your cage. You about to get locked up.
She just trumpet you.
Trying to be nice.
She just trumpet you.
Trying to be nice and let you be free today. But you being disruptive. So, yes. So I was just talking to my friend. Okay. Excuse me, guys.
Girl, you about to get in trouble.
Come on. Come on. Go. Go. You interrupting the broadcast. Next week we won't try that. You just ruined it for yourself. That was the trial run. That was a trial run, and you failed. So, I have a nonprofit just like you, and I don't want to say too much about what I want to do because I don't want to kill my vision. But I've been trying to figure out ways to reestablish it. And now that I've experienced different things in my life, I'm trying to think about different ways to utilize that and involve this too. So involve this process. So that came to my heart today. Starting a support group, amongst other things I'm considering. So we'll see what 2023 brings.
Sis said, I have been doing more things first of all, that's not even the first one. So all of it's not coming through. So I'm going to read it from here.
Oh, okay. That's not touchscreen.
Oh.
Yep, use a pad. Where's that?
Okay, that's the first one. So it says, then my 4-year-old grieves her. Every day she's asking me about my mom or saying she wished she didn't pass. I don't mind sharing she passed from ovarian cancer. And then the next one says, I have been doing more things she liked and loved and just pouring into my babies. She asked me to make sure I be a better mom to my kids than she was to me.
Yep, so just give yourself time.
Yes, don't rush your healing.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're doing what you're supposed to be. You're doing it. Yeah. So don't even, don't rush yourself. Be patient with yourself. And like I said, when we first started, like, the journey is unpredictable. Yeah. Right? So there's days when I'm like down. There's days when I'm high. There's, days when that stuff, I'm like, okay, I could push through. There's other days when I'm like, no, I'm not. So you're taking the steps. So just be confident in that you're taking the steps that you're supposed to be taking to cope with your grief, right? Because we're not going to get over this. There's no getting over it. There's no it's going away or anything like that. But you're learning to cope. Yeah. So just understand that you're on the right track and just keep pushing. You're doing the right thing.
You got this, Sid.
You definitely do. And in June, that's still very fresh. Like, it's been 8 months for me. And it feels like yesterday. Like, I cannot believe I've been without my mama for 8 months. I have not seen my mother. Like, that baffles me. When I thought about it, and I think that's what put me in my rut last week, because last week is what made 8 months. Yeah. Last Sunday. So it's like, I was like, wow, like, it's been 8 months since I've seen my mom, talked to my mom, like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. Yeah. So give yourself time. Because like I said, like, we're not going to get over it. We just learn how to do life with it.
Yeah. It lives with you forever.
Yeah. So I'm interested to hear from you. And, like, I don't know how deep you want to go, like, about, what we were talking about before we started, just about, like, just, like, how's it been for you? Even, like you said, like, I called you,
Girl, you trying to get the work started. That's what she tried to do. That's what she tried to do.
I'm not. I was fighting hard. Because I was fighting hard.
That, my face just started doing all this type of stuff.
I was fighting hard.
Girl.
Yeah, but like Sequoia was the second person I called, because the first person I called was Keisha, because I was like, I just need you to pray. And that's my prayer warrior friend. I'm like, I just need you to stop what you're doing. I just need you to pray. And she's like, what's wrong, Ken? And I'm like, my mom, something's wrong. I'm on my way to Rockford. Yeah. And she stopped what she was doing and she prayed. And when I hung up, I called you. Like,
yeah, because I had texted you right before that. Like, and it was so crazy. I texted you just to see how you were doing, but then I ran outside. Like, it was just that fast. I ran outside and I came back in and had a missed call from you. And when I called you back, it was just like it wasn't you. Like, it was just so much pain hold on, y'all. It was so much pain in your voice. And of course, I've never heard that type of pain come from you.
I thought I would be the one crying. We put the Kleenex right here.
And y'all, that's so crazy because I did not expect, I really didn't think that I was going to cry. Like I said that last week, but I didn't think that I was going to cry. But just to like still be on the other end of that, and there's nothing that I can do but listen and just show up the best way I can. But like when you called me and to hear your voice just say, my mama, she gone, like I was at a loss for words. Like all I kept saying was, wow. Wow, because I didn't know. It was like I didn't know what to say. In my mind, I know this is real. But like I was just on FaceTime. Like I was just saying, I was just on FaceTime in December with her mama when we was in Atlanta for Rachel's birthday. So I just saw her face. So then to get a call like that, it was just so deep. And then, like I said, to hear the pain, it just was like I didn't know what to do. And it's not like I can run and come chase you because I still have my kids at the house, and it was so much. Like that day, it was just crazy in my mind because, like, again, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to show up because this is not something I've experienced, or in our group we haven't experienced it. So it's like, what do you do? And I brought my journal to read what I wrote, but I can just say basically what I wrote from my head. And so, sometimes I write my prayers in my journal. And I think it was like maybe the day before the funeral, I ended up writing my prayer out, and I just said I was thanking God for covering us, but asked Him to continue to cover you, and to be able to help you find peace in your mother's passing. And to allow me to be able to show up, or our group period, but more so myself, because of course I can only do what I can do. So, but allow myself to be able to show up for you the best way that I know how, or the best way that I can, because I don't know what to do. And it was just like from there, that was it. Like it was just, everything just seemed like I was just there. Like I'm able to do that, and it's no force in it. It's no feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of doing this. And it's just like I'm able to be here to serve you in whatever way, shape, or form that I can. That's possible for me. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that without asking God to be able to guide me to do that, because I didn't know what to do. So, but it's just like, just go on. Just go on with how you normally do things. That's just it. Go on with how you normally do things. All you're doing is checking up a little bit more. That's it. And just finding out what they need and being there for them when they need you.
And like, and when she had told me that, like, I cried. She's like, yeah, I just prayed to God to ask me, you know, how to be here. And I'm just like, I cried because I felt so bad, because I was always complaining to Sequoia about who wasn't here for me. And my friend would just listen. She would just take it. She would never say nothing. And she told me that, and I was just like, wow, here I am worrying about who's not here. And I literally have somebody who's praying to God how to show up for me. Like, and I'm sorry, because you just been listening to me complain about who ain't been here and all this, you know, and I'm literally got people right here, and I did the same thing to Brittany, one of my line sisters, because, you know, like, I was literally pushing her away. And, you know, she's like, girl, I'm tired. She told me, like, I'm tired of, like, trying to be here for you. And, you know, and you just study, like, oh, I'm okay. Or, no, you know, I'm going to do this. Or Sequoia has it, or whatever. Like, I'm sick of it, you know. And I'm just like, you're right. You know, I'm sorry, you know, like, because I have been needing more. I have been needing more people, except I was just looking for it in other people. And I was not recognizing who I had here. So, like Sequoia said, and then those people, you know, like, I had to learn to not judge them, to not take it wrong. Because everybody has a season. And also something that you helped me realize recently is that this is just another season for me, me as far as me being vulnerable. And a lot of people ain't used to seeing me like this. So they can't handle it. Because I've always been so strong. I've always been the person to be there for other people. So it's hard for people to show up for me. They don't know how. And that's not a bad thing. That's not, no ill feelings for them. However, now I have to find a new tribe of people who can handle me in this vulnerable state because they are not used to me on that level. So just understanding that this is a different season for me, and that's okay. It's okay for me to not have the same people here around me while I'm going through. Yeah. But I don't want to get too deep into that either because that's another episode. Yeah. But I started going to therapy again.
Hey, Brittany.
Hey, girl. So I've done therapy for different reasons, different times. And it's what's crazy, y'all, because God be knowing. I signed up for therapy before my mama passed. I had already signed up for therapy because I was not satisfied with the way my 2021 went. So I said I'm going to be more intentional about 2022. And one thing that I'm going to do is go to therapy first. And then after that, I said I was going to do life coaching. But I'm still going to therapy, so I ain't going to start life coaching. However, before I could even have my first appointment was already set for January. I think was my first appointment, February. So I had already had my appointment set. And mind y'all, this was a therapist that I found through my job that I had. So they have what they call them, employee assistance programs, so EAPs, where you're able to get 5 free sessions, complimentary sessions. So you have to go, you find a therapist through this program, and you get 5 free sessions. So I found a therapist. I was not real picky about it. I'm I just wanted somebody who would be able to see me in person because we were still getting over the pandemic and we were in the house a lot. So I'm I want to be able to go outside for something. And I was working from home. So I'm okay, this can be the one thing that I do outside. So the only stipulation that I had was they had to have in-person visits. It was not that I was looking for a woman, a man, a black woman. Why? It didn't matter to me. I just wanted somebody to see me in person. I made about 3-4 calls, and the person who got back to me happened to be a black woman who's only 15 minutes away from me. And then when I get to her, and now I've lost my mom, and I'm talking to her, and this woman is, again, a black woman, a Christian, and also lost her mom. So literally, she's like, God always sends me people who are dealing with the loss of their mom. And I'm when I picked you, I didn't even lose my mom yet. Hadn't even lost her. So it was just amazing to me. It's God is just amazing. He sets you up. He knows what we're going to need before we know what we're going to need. I thought I was going to therapy, and even through the therapy, still to this day, I don't put so much emphasis on my mom, my loss with my mom, but we do talk about it here and there. But I'm I do still want to continue to put intention on myself and how I'm living my life and stuff. So we've been finding a lot of balance in that. But I'm grateful that I was also able to find someone to help me through my life as well as my grief journey. So God is very intentional. So that's another tip. Get a therapist. If you want to go specifically for your grief, get somebody who's a grief counselor. Don't just get a regular therapist. Get someone who actually knows how to help you process your grief. Because you may not, you don't want to end up with just anybody. And they want to talk to you about relationships, and you're I don't want to talk about that. So be specific about what you're looking for.
Yeah. I was a word and beyond this.
Being specific about what you're looking for.
Yeah,
for sure. What else would I like to share?
I know you did your grief journal and those, but regular journaling can help too.
Yeah.
just to get your feelings out. If somebody's not there to listen, write them out. You will always be able to listen to yourself. God gonna always hear you too. Just write it out, just so you can get it off and be able to breathe until you know.
What you don't want to do is isolate.
Yeah.
Do not isolate. Do not feel like you can do it alone. I'm grateful that I have my sisters, because we're going through the same thing together. We're able to talk a little deeper with each other about our process than we may be able to with a friend or another family member, because we understand, like, it's our mama.
Yeah.
So it's like, I understand what you're feeling, so like, I'm grateful that I'm not doing this alone, that I have my sisters. And also, do not, like, and this is for, like, people who may be watching me, and you may feel like I'm handling my grief very well. Don't judge your journey, anything in life. You do not want to judge your journey off somebody else's, feeling like you should be somewhere because this is how this person is handling, and they're handling this so well. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't try to mimic your life off of what you think somebody else is doing. If you're going through grief right now and you feel like you want to talk to me, my DMs are open. If you want to ask some questions, get some tips, my DMs are definitely open. But I've always been vulnerable on my Facebook, and that's something that I'm working on doing too, is actually I'm cleaning up my Facebook. I was like, my Facebook is a place for me to be vulnerable, and I only want people in this space that I feel safe with, because I share more. Like on Instagram, I share pictures. On TikTok, I share videos, or whatever. So it's like, but Facebook is where I really pour out my heart, so I really want to feel safe. So I don't sugarcoat when I share things on Facebook. I'm trying to be very vulnerable, and I'm being led by God. Like, I don't post or say anything for clout. I am doing it because I feel led. Like, there's times when I want to post something and God will be like, nope, don't post it, and I won't post it. And then there's things that I don't want to say, and he like, but you got to say it. So yeah, so I'm said all that to say I'm an open book. If anybody wants to talk privately. But yeah. But you can catch me sharing on here too, because I don't mind. I don't mind talking about it.
It's White Owl Sangria.
Oh, hey, Tony. Yeah. Is that what it's called?
I wanted to say White Oak, but I know that's wrong. So I
think
it's White Owl.
White Owl from Aldi. Y'all know Aldi got some great wine.
$3.
They got some great wine.
It's $3 and up.
Yeah, $3 and up, starting at $2.89 to be exact. But $3 after tax.
Well, now it's $2.95.
Is it?
Girl.
Wow.
Look, I'm mad I said it like that was the whole
right,
time.
Now it's $2.95.
That's $2.95.
But from $2, and I'm like, is it? Like, that's a big old, like, it went up to $5 or something. Yeah. But still, yes. Yeah.
So how to show up for your friends? Reach out, y'all. Reach out, ask how they're doing. And just calling that's still a great gesture, because they never know if you're thinking about them or not. Or who's thinking about them. Because a lot of people still feel lonely, like they don't have anybody. So just reach out, go give them a hug. I send her hugs every now and then. I tell her I love her all the time.
But I want to highlight the fact of what she's saying. Like when she was talking earlier, like she didn't do anything different. She may have done a little bit more here and there, but for the most part, you just show up for people in the space that you are already showing up for them in. If that's your friend, be a friend. And that's what I was like, and my therapist was trying to get me to, like, she wants me to basically vocalize more of what I need. But I was coming from a place of, I feel like I shouldn't have to tell people what I need. If they consider themselves to be my friends and my family, you know me, you should know what I need. You know that I'm a strong person, so you know that I'm probably not going to tell you what I need. I'm probably going to try to solve these problems by myself. So I was taking it up very personal when people wasn't showing up for me, because I'm like, I shouldn't have to tell them what I need. Like, they should know already. So yeah, so I'm like, I don't really need anybody to do anything outside of their norm, because I did it. You don't want to burden anybody, for one. And you don't want to get overwhelmed. So I don't want people to sit here with me every day. I'm not asking nobody to call me every day. Like, I don't want to talk about my mama every day. You know, like, I want to live life normally going through this process. You know, like, of course life is not normal. However, I don't want to be reminded about what I lost every second. You know, so like her just being who she was to me already. You know, hey, let's go out, you know, or even now, like, Sequoia don't just jump when I say, let's go to some, Sequoia still tell me no. You know, like, but, you know, like, but I think she could tell the difference, and if I need her, or if I'm just, like, just being Ken, and I just want to go outside, you know, like, and that's why I feel like me balancing too of just learning to be by myself, you know, in times as well, because I'm like, okay, you know, there's not going to always be somebody here, too, so just show up as you. And, you know, and it's okay to ask people what they need. And people who are grieving, tell people what you need. Like, you know, like, especially if you're like me and you consider, you know, you're the strong one or whatever, you know, like, they won't know how to show up for you. Especially if it's not something that they went through personally. They're not going to know. You have to open up, for sure. So, yeah.
Jesus.
MD 2020.
What's Dog 2020? I don't know why, but
Tony, you been drinking? What you come on here talking about some MD 2020? We can't drink wine. That's what we gotta drink.
I'm definitely not drinking that. What movie was that on? Like
every back 90s movie there was about the hood. Sure.
Right?
Sure. Men's Society, Boys in the Hood. Who wasn't drinking that? So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. We did good.
Yeah.
We did good. The waterworks.
We kept them limited. Which is good.
But yeah, so I guess what I was to say as a takeaway, is to live for your lost loved one. Live your life for them. That's what I want you guys to take away from this, is live life for them. Cause that's what they want you to do anyways. Like, they don't nobody want y'all to be out here soaking over their death the rest of your life. Don't waste your time soaking over them.
Kira says, and hey girl, I always have an issue opening up and talking about the death of my dad. He was killed 20 years ago, and literally hearing any memory breaks me down.
Yeah. I think opening up is what's going to help you start to cope a little more. It's the fact that you're keeping it all bottled in is why you're breaking down every time a memory comes, because you still keeping yourself sheltered from actually accepting it. So you're choosing to just not deal with it. So once you face it and actually deal, like, literally, I've made playlists of songs, my mom's favorite songs. I videos, it's pictures and stuff all of my mama all over my house. You know, like I literally see her. I feel like I'll just be driving in the car. Everything reminds me of my mama. You know, like, so because I'm actively living in her light still, it's helping me to get through it. Like, it's hard when you're trying to keep stuff just inside for you, because you're just dealing with that internally. So it doesn't surprise me that every time you hear a memory that you're breaking down, because you're not dealing with it. You got to let it go. Even if that's just talking to somebody, like a family member or something who may understand it more, because maybe, I don't know if you have any other siblings with him, but like I said, my siblings, you know, they understand a little more because that was our mom, you know, so we're able to talk through it a little more with each other than we are with other people. But therapy, if you haven't gone to therapy, I don't know if you heard me talking about that, but you definitely going to have to break through that to actually really be able to cope. Because 20 years is a long time. Yeah. And but I was telling Sid, obviously there's no amount of time that's going to help us get over it. We're never going to get over it. But learning how to cope is what we're trying to do.
You're going to be able to get through life knowing that you're doing your best to be able to cope. Agreed. I went through counseling in May, and I finally did open up. After I cried my heart out, it literally felt like the weight was lifted.
Exactly.
Because you let it out. You finally let it set yourself free.
Yeah. Dang, how my battery going low? Instagram just been having a thing today. Yes. Thank you. But I'll be praying for you, Kira, that you know.
Continue to have the strength to get through this process, because since you finally started, it should be.
And that's the thing, you just started.
Yeah. So you're definitely gonna go through a lot of emotions, but you're gonna start to learn what's best for your process and healing.
And like I said, and not looking at what you feel like somebody else did differently. You know, comparing your process to anybody else's process, because that was your daddy. You know, and it's harder too. I don't like how Sid, you know, she said she lost her mom to ovarian cancer, so that was kind of like a process in itself. Literally preparing yourself to lose your parent because they're ill, losing your parent traumatically to like a car accident or a gun, you know, like violence, anything like that. Like that's even more traumatic. Like I think it helps me a little more. And like I said, I was able to come to a better understanding from me, my spirit, because my mom went in her sleep so peacefully. So I'm like, okay, my mom's time was just done. You know, like she wasn't stripped of her life. You know, God just said it's finished. So when you have, and if that was the case for you, I don't know how your father passed, if it was traumatic or an illness, it is a little harder to accept those things because you do kind of feel like, why? Yeah. You know, that question is a little bit more strict, a little bit more. Yeah, it's there. So.
You know what? Also, actually, another thing that actually helped me with helping you, having another friend that had lost his mom, because it's like we started communicating a little bit more around that time. So it was like you were going through yours and they're trying to start their process. But it was so easy for me to talk to him. But it was like, and it's not like I wasn't close to him, but I know who I'm closer to. So it was like, it came easy for me to give him advice or help him out, although I haven't gone through it. But you know certain things to be able to say. But then it was like, I have to come back and try to be there for you, and I didn't know what to do. But talking to him, it kind of helped me ease into being able to show up for you as well.
It was almost like God had prepared you.
Yeah. And that's why I say everything just started coming with ease. So it wasn't like I just was like, oh my God. Like, no, everything came with ease. But it also helped him as well. So it was like I had to show up for 2 weeks, but at the same time, not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and like you said, and that's dealing with it in two different ways.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's process is so different. Yeah. You know, but like, we definitely have to help each other, because I don't feel like we are like, grief is looked so negatively. Like, we expect grief to hurt. Yeah. You know, like it's supposed to be, I'm supposed to be angry. I lost my loved one. I'm supposed to be mad. What are you talking about? You don't have to be. It does not have to be anger. It does not have to be hate. It does not have to be unforgiveness or feeling like I'm just going to go put myself in the hole. I have nothing to live for. That does not have to be grief. That's what society has taught us, that that's the way grief is supposed to look. You're supposed to cry every day. You're not supposed to live. You feel guilty because you're living and this person is not living. No. Like, we literally have to shift the way grief is supposed to be processed. It needs to be looked at more positively. Like I said, looking at what have I gained through the loss of this person. You know, like, yes, I lost this physical person, but their spirit is now here, and what have I gained? Like I said, I felt stronger. I felt wiser. I felt more in control of my life. I literally felt like every strength that my mom had, I felt like it's in me, and like I had it double. I felt like I gained so much through her loss. Like, even how I choose to live life now with so much intention. Like, I was headed in that direction, but losing my mom literally catapulted that for me. I'm like, oh no, I'm not dealing with this no more. I'm not dealing with that no more. I ain't got to be there. I don't got to be around this. I don't have to do none of that. Because if I'm gone tomorrow, I want to go in peace, not struggling with anything or anybody.
That's why I said be more intentional.
Yes.
It should definitely teach you. So one of my oracle cards, one of the cards is grief, and I was trying to remember what the affirmation was, but it was something along the lines of grief being, you understand, or you being able to appreciate what was here.
Yeah. Started like I did a gratefulness jar journey thing earlier this year. Because I wanted to just focus on what was good in my life. You know, like literally you have to be so intentional about every day to help you manage that grief in a positive way. Because it's so easy to turn a negative. It's so easy to be negative. We have to work at being positive. You have to literally choose positivity every day. Because I know what this person would want, how this person would want me to live my life. Like literally think about that person and what you're doing. It's kind of like how they say, you know, with church and stuff like that, like would you be doing that if Jesus was in the room with you? Like if that person was here with you right now, would they be wanting you to do that thing? Would they be wanting you to blame their death for how you live in your life? Oh no, you gone, so now I'm choosing to do this instead of that. No, don't blame that on me. I don't want to be responsible for you not living your life when I'm gone.
And I'm gone. So
don't put that pressure on me.
You are responsible for the way you live your life.
Don't put that on me.
You don't want to choose to live your life in sadness. You don't want to choose to live your life in anger. You're here, so there's so much more to live for.
Yes.
That's just what you have to understand. So again, it still goes back to be intentional about how you live in your life. Be intentional about the people that you keeping in your life.
Yeah. Because now that they're gone, now what you gonna do? You know, like, so, and even like being intentional about your healing. You know, like how you're processing things. You know, like I said, like therapy, church, you know, reading. Whatever you can do to actually keep yourself encouraged, you need to do. Like we went to a healing circle, and it was amazing. And in that healing circle, I got so much love from my mom during that whole ceremony. My mom was there every moment of that ceremony. You know, like I'm so intentional about keeping my mama alive. It's crazy. You know, like even when we went to Miami. That was my mama's last trip. She went to Miami. We didn't go to Miami because that was our mom's last trip. But we went to Miami, and literally just a week off of when she had we went to Miami. So literally when we got back from Miami, I started seeing my mama's memories of her Miami trip. It was crazy.
The other crazier part was your birthday, because her mama was there the whole time, y'all.
Yes.
Her mama was there the entire time we was in Houston.
Because like I tell y'all, like, so my mom's birthday is February 9th and my birthday is February 18th, you know, so people always, it's like, I'm so much like my mom or whatever, but she was planning to come to Houston for my birthday before she had passed. So, like, it was very hard for me to still go on this trip, but I know my mom wanted me to go on this trip. Like, Peggie G was going to have some fun, you know, so I'm like, I'm still going on this trip, you know, and I didn't want to let the people down who I was going with. But literally, like she said, it was like, every time I turned around, they was playing a song by my mama, you know, like the activities. It was like, okay, my mama, like it was everything. Like we went to the turkey leg hut, and what they played, they was playing Leela James' Complicated.
Man, y'all, we was already there. They was in another Uber. Soon as she pulled up and opened the door, they playing my mama's song, y'all. And my mama here.
I'm like,
wow. But
yes.
that was so deep though, because it was a moment.
Like literally, I'll be out now. Like it's certain songs that I had never heard in a club before, but I would hear them now. Like they was playing blues. Remember we went to brunch and they play Side Piece. They played Side Piece at Red Star.
I heard that in the...
They played Side Piece at Red Star, and they played it at DD's one time when I was there. So that was the second time that I had heard some blues, and I was like, oh my gosh, like my mama is steady showing up. I'm like, and this is funny. So this is funny, y'all. And I hope TT listening, because we was at the bar in Rockford, and we was talking about this, like how mama be showing up everywhere. And so we drinking or whatever, dancing and stuff like that, and it's a fly keep buzzing around, and it kept landing on TT drink. I said, "Girl, that's mama." TT said, what? She said, this mother just said my mama a fly. We was cracking us and we cracked up.
in the room trying to listen
I said, because she's such a pest. I said, mama is always up in my business. I said, every time I go out, they playing some songs or whatever, like, that remind me of my mom. I'm like, she is everywhere, literally, you know, like, but I it makes me so happy, y'all, that I can go so many places and I just get all these reminders of my mom. Like, I truly believe my mama's spirit. And even like, we finna come up on an hour. It ended.
Instagram Live. Instagram ended, y'all.
Yeah. But
come on, y'all. Facebook,
like
y'all still on here. Sorry.
They don't care.
Right.
But yeah, like, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought looking at doing this.
The fly. Your mom was the fly because she was always in your business.
But yeah, she's funny. She's hilarious. She be everywhere. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I can find joy in my mama showing up. Like I was having a lot of dreams about my mama, and I know that that's not something that's very common for a lot of people. You know, like they be like waiting on their loved ones to like visit them in their dreams and stuff like that. Like that was something else my mama didn't hesitate on.
Well, I was gonna say, do you feel like you were waiting, but your mom showed up for you?
Yeah, I wasn't waiting.
But so what would you say? I mean, although you haven't experienced, what would you think you'd be able to say to the people
who are waiting on their loved ones to visit them? I would say stop waiting. Yeah. Like, they gonna come when they ready. They gonna come, and they gonna come when you really need them to.
Talk to them. Cause
my mom first came to me. Actually, I was balled up on this couch crying. It was like right after my mom's funeral. Ooh. And my sister actually sent my mama to me because she said, kind of like you know, like she just knew, like, I was just being so strong or whatever. And she's just like, you know, like, cause my sister, like, my mama had been visiting my sister. And she's just like, she was like, visit Whitney. Mama was like, go to her. And like that same night, my mama visited me. And like, I just felt like I felt a weight on my body when I was laying here. I was just laying here balled up, and she just like was just like a weight on my body. And I'm like, it was just like out of nowhere. I'm like, what is this? You know, it was my mama. She was hugging me. Like, but you gotta have that spiritual connection to understand. And I think that too can be what can be blocking a lot of people, because I feel like that's a gift. You know, like to be able to have visions in your sleep, because dreams are visions, and you have to understand that. So I don't believe that everybody is able to tap into that realm because of where you are at spiritually. So like, and my mom, when she would visit me in my dreams, like she would like, it would be like real stuff, you know, like, and that's another reason why I'm able to just live my life for her, is because like whenever she would show up, she'd be like, what y'all crying for? Like, we having a party, you know, like she would come during parties. Like, it would be like we was regularly partying, like trying to celebrate life without her, and she would show up. Like, y'all thought I was gone? I'm still here. You know, like, you know, I'm still here. And I'm like, you know, like, so it just, again, gives me more peace to just keep going. Like, my mama's still here, you know, so yeah. So if you're waiting for your loved one to visit you in your dream, or just through any signs, you got to check your spirit first and where you are, because you probably blocking it, and you don't even know.
Any negative feelings that you got, let it go. Yeah, because that could be a block. Like, just be, just live, just be present in the moment, because that's what you're still here for.
Listen, y'all. Look at this. Listen.
This is the song we was literally just talking about, and I've never heard this on the TV.
Never. This came on my YouTube. First of all, this is the Ari Lennox station I was playing.
Wow.
Peggie Jean. They came up in the live video.
Turn it down before they mute us.
We do not own the rights to this music. Peggie Jean, boy. She don't play no games.
That's so weird.
That is,
I've never even seen this video.
So I didn't know what it was.
First of all, this song sounds old as dirt. Okay,
it is.
this is a whole real new video.
So I looked at his voice. I looked at his mouth moving. I said, he said side piece.
Before you turned it up, I heard it.
Because we both stopped for a minute. Wow,
that's crazy.
I just got hot. Mama, you wildin'. She is crazy. But I'm glad that happened because we was able to show y'all. Like, this ain't no game.
We both got through. Y'all. This is crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Keisha, yeah.
Wow. Man, she is crazy. Keisha, did you hear that? Was you on when that song came on? Peggie G, a mess. Okay. Well,
let's get...
I say, is there anything else? I think that's about it.
That's it.
I mean, if nobody got no questions or nothing, so. Next week.
We have validation.
Okay. That's cool. Right. She extra. So, yeah. So, next week, we're going to talk about, we're going to be getting tapped into some validation. Yeah. Because where are you looking for where are you seeking validation from? Where is your validation? Is it coming from outside sources or within? That's a question we're going to leave y'all with to come back for next week.
On the next
Wine and Grow.
Peace out, y'all.
All right. I'm going to end here first.
We ended on Instagram first. We just started that like 3 times. But see y'all.
See y'all.